Alright, I think we're recording. So what I did is I zip tied that over here to the side. You can see it. I'm going to cut that part off because it keeps popping off. And I just don't want it to do that in flight again like it did last time. SB140 engine on the frame my class created. So my class made this. We've been designing it across the semester. By the time we get all this stuff on and get over to our stuff, it's going to be time to fly. Alright, let's look at everything. I'm going to let this hang down. But this is what we designed in class. It's got a lot of improvements. I broke some stuff. That's why we got some duct tape on, but I will show that video too, which is funny. This is what I worry about, that this could come in contact. There's some bolts there where I should have about 3 inches, but I'd like to have more. Turned on. Make sure it's not caught on anything before we stand up. So we got leg straps. Got the other leg strap. We're in sport mode. I did not want to do a forward because I didn't want to put any stress on this cage, but I think I'm going to have to. Let's get this one off. So we should be on the top there. Should be on the top there. We're going to come under and grab it. Alright, so we got a lot of torque. A lot of torque there. So let's try it. Alright, we need to land. We hit something. Yep, we chipped our prop. So that is not going to work. But we definitely got a prop strike. It's actually not going to be... Man, does that thing really push that hard that it would touch that? I guess so. It's not terrible. It's just the ends of it got knocked off. I'm almost tempted to go try to fly again, but I definitely heard a prop strike. And I think that's just the power of that engine pushing on that thing. I think that's a 140 centimeter prop. I want to try again, but I'm going to go nice and slow and kind of feel it in the air. And if it doesn't feel good, I'll just stop again. All right, I'm going to deactivate that for just a second. We'll try again. Let's see. I'm going to go really slow here. Yeah, it's torquing really hard to the right, which I don't like, but at least we got a flight on it, even though we knocked out part of the propeller. Everything looks good on the wing. And I'm going to fly down the beach. So I'm really having to torque my body hard to the left to compensate. And it's because I don't have torque compensation built into this. I don't feel a lot of vibration, but at least you can see, and you can tell it's not very loud because it's a battery powered harness, but I sure don't want to go very far, and I sure don't want to land in the water. I'm going to turn back over here towards the dunes, because that seems to be the way I can weight shift a little bit better. It's okay, but it's super sensitive, and the swing arms still feel pretty far apart. I'm happy it didn't totally destroy that prop, that I'll still be able to fly it. I'll put a little bit of resin on the end of it to seal it up. But I was able to launch in chill mode. And now the students will be able to see that their model, their frame is flying. I don't want to go too far away from people in case I crash. We're at 73% battery. Feeling pretty good about it now that I'm in the air, but the ground handling on this frame is terrible. And a lot of my students are going to hear me talk about how I was afraid that prop was going to hit. I went against better judgment 2 times, 3 times. One time when I broke it, just decided to duct tape the frame. Not a good decision. But when you design something and you put all this effort in and you're running out of time to make your deadline, my deadline is to have this thing flown with the exact frame that the students are putting together. Even though it doesn't have the netting, I'm fine with this. So I've reached my goal, because the other videos I have are me flying the top 80 with the older design that I improved. I've got to do something with these swing arms. There's definitely going to need to be another adjustment on this. Swing arms are going to have to be different. For sure. Yeah, I can barely put any weight on my right side or it wants to turn immediately. But I definitely got the hang point right. I feel like I'm hanging just right. Hopefully this prop doesn't disintegrate on me. I don't think it will, and I think I'll still be able to use it. It'll probably be one that I use for camping now that it's damaged. It looks like it just barely took the tip, like maybe a 1/4 inch off the end of it. And I've flown one. I've got a video of me flying the quarry in my hang glider where I skimmed the pond down in the quarry and my prop went in and touched the water and it knocked a 2-inch section out of it, and I almost couldn't fly out of the quarry. All right, let's talk about mistakes. One mistake is when I had the top 80, I kept pulling on it even though I knew I was putting too much stress on the frame. But what I didn't know is that top part 2 tri-connection was not, I never mounted it into the frame itself, so it was not taking a lot of the stress. It was taking very little stress off the hoop, and that's why it broke when I pulled the pull starter. Second issue is I knew that hoop was too close to that prop. I kept bringing it up in the video, like, I don't know if I'm far enough away. I knew I wasn't far enough away because I have read the optimal distance. So I go on the Scout's website. They've got a lot of good resources on paramotor design, and in there they talk about making sure your hoop is a certain distance. And I gave it a lot of thrust. It bent that prop enough to the point where it touched those bolts. Had those bolts not been there, again, another point that I knew better, but I went against my better judgment, it should not, it didn't hit on this other side. It hit where those props were out, and just barely, just enough to knock a little bit of that off. Another example, I guess this is number 4, is I flew this thing after knocking a section out of the prop. again, against my better judgment, but I just drove 3 hours to have smooth winds to fly in. Feeling pretty comfortable. There are again changes that will be made for the next semester. As it stands, I might replace the swing arms on it. Then I might think about flying it again. And the reason for that is the ground handling sucks. And when I give it a lot of thrust, it wants to turn to the right. It wants to torque to the right. I could put torque compensation in there, but I don't know that it'll really help all that much for this, the power this thing has. I went to chill mode. I didn't hear it hit the frame again, but it may be missing the section that would have hit. So I don't know, man. And I'm afraid to do right-hand turns because I'm afraid I can't get out of them. So this is the frame that the students will assemble. If we get the netting on it, I'm gonna think really hard about flying it again, but I really don't want to die. And I really don't want to get injured. This flight here for me is gonna be good, I think. I don't want to take a right-hand turn. I need to try it though. So what I'm afraid of is if I do a right-hand turn, I may not be able to get out of that spiral if it goes into one because I'm so low. I just wanted to fly this thing so bad and get it off my list because this whole semester I've just been barely ahead of these students. And I didn't want to use the video of an older design, even though it has all the parts that they made. It's got some new stuff in it. Like the width of it is not as wide, but it's still too wide for me. I would like to feel those swing arms come in about an inch. I would like to have better swing arms. Let's go out over the water just a little bit. So I don't like giving it a lot of throttle. Because it wants to torque really hard to the right, even though I'm in chill mode. We're about 20 minutes. Right now we're sitting at about 14 minutes at 37% on chill mode. So what I would like to do though is turn around here, take my camera off my helmet. We didn't crash. I had it between my legs, so we flew it. We had a prop strike, flew it anyway. Had crazy ground handling, almost crashed. Prop strike here. So we hit those bolts. You can see where it chopped through. I think that was just from the force of this pushing that carbon fiber prop. So we're missing, we went from a 140 centimeter to 135 centimeter prop. Got duct tape. That's where we were pulling on the pull start, because we didn't have that bolted in, it broke. So duct tape on those parts. We're gonna have to recast those. But other than that, great flight. On the swing arms, notice I'm right on the swing arm. There is no offset. So I'm going to model the swing arms that are on my electric frame, the commercial frame. But at least we got a shot of what they put together in class flying.